I always assumed people who claimed to hear voices were either sleep-deprived, off their meds, or chasing attention online, until it happened to me. It started small, barely noticeable. I'd be in the middle of doing something mundane, brushing my teeth, folding laundry, staring at the wall during a Zoom call, and I'd hear something. A word, maybe two. Faint, muffled, like it came from inside a dream I wasn't fully awake from. The first time it said, "Left." I was brushing my teeth, looking in the mirror. I froze, toothbrush still in my mouth. I wasn't sure if I actually heard it. Could have been the running water, or maybe my own thoughts echoing weirdly in my skull. I leaned to the left. Nothing. I forgot about it within minutes. But then it happened again. A week later, I was microwaving leftovers, waiting for the obnoxious beep to tell me my sad dinner was ready. The voice was louder this time. "Don't open it." I stepped back instinctively. My heart jumped. The microwave hummed like normal, and after a second it beeped. Everything looked fine. But still, I didn't open it. Not for another 5 minutes. And when I did, the glass bowl had shattered. Food splattered inside, burnt to a crisp. If I had opened it the moment it beeped, I might have been cut or burned. Or worse. That's when I started listening. Not out of trust. Out of fear. I thought maybe it was intuition. Some subconscious warning system that took the form of a voice. That made sense, right? Like how some people hear a little inner monologue when making decisions. But this voice wasn't me. It didn't feel like me. It was always cold, flat, genderless, and slowly it started talking more. I never told anyone, not even my roommate Josh. He'd just think I was losing it. Or worse, he'd try to get me committed. He already thought I was too jumpy lately. Then one night, I was lying in bed, scrolling through my phone like everyone else does when pretending they're not anxious. The room was dark except for the faint blue glow of the screen. Josh was asleep in the next room, and the voice came again. Clear, loud. He's not asleep. I froze. I didn't move, didn't breathe. My heart was pounding so loud I couldn't hear anything else. I stared at the ceiling, waiting, listening. Then, from the other side of the wall, I heard it. A whisper. Not words, just breathing, like someone standing too close to a phone receiver. I got up, tiptoed to the door, and pressed my ear to it. More breathing. Then, a slow, dragging sound, like socks across hardwood floor. The voice inside my head spoke again. "He's standing outside your door." I spun around and pressed my back against it, grabbing the closest thing I could find, a tripod I hadn't used in months. I didn't want to believe it, but something was there. The handle twisted slowly. I held my breath, raised the tripod over my head. Then, silence. No more breathing, no more dragging, just complete, paralyzing stillness. After a long minute, I yanked the door open, ready to swing. Nothing. The hallway was empty. Josh's door was cracked open, a dim night light glowing from inside. I crept toward it, feet silent against the cold floor. "Josh," I whispered. "You good?" No response. I pushed the door open. He was in bed, eyes closed, headphones in, snoring, like nothing had happened. I stood there for a while, convinced he was pretending. But eventually, I went back to bed, and that's when the voice came again, softer this time, almost pleased. "Good, you're learning." I didn't sleep after that. I sat up in bed with the light on, staring at my phone until dawn. At some point, I must have dozed off, because the next thing I remember is my alarm blaring and sunlight slicing through my blinds. Josh was already gone for work. He'd left a note on the kitchen counter. "Didn't want to wake you. You were tossing and turning like crazy. Hope you're good. Jay." That's when I started keeping a notebook, writing everything the voice said, down to the exact wording and time. I needed to prove to myself, at least, that I wasn't imagining it. And also, I guess I wanted to see if there was a pattern. For days, nothing happened. Then on Thursday, things got worse. I was walking home from the train station around 7 p.m. It was already dark. Fall had crept up fast. I had my earbuds in, podcast playing, hoodie up. That's when I felt it. Someone behind me. I paused my podcast and glanced over my shoulder. A guy in a gray coat, maybe mid-40s, was walking a few yards behind. Nothing weird about that, but he was walking in perfect sync with me. Every time I slowed, he slowed. When I sped up, he sped up. Then the voice came, cutting through the silence inside my skull like a scalpel. Run. I didn't think. I bolted. I ran 4 blocks, heart pounding, lungs screaming. When I finally looked back, the man was gone, but the voice wasn't. He followed you yesterday too, and the day before that. Don't stop watching. That night, I couldn't sleep again. I kept checking the windows, the locks. Every sound felt too loud, too unnatural. And around 3:07 a.m., I remember the time exactly. I heard 3 knocks on my bedroom window. I live on the 2nd floor. I didn't look. I didn't move. The voice whispered again, "Don't open your eyes." So I didn't. I lay there frozen, every muscle screaming. I could hear something scraping the glass. Then nothing. I must have passed out from exhaustion, because when I woke up, the sun was up again. No footprints outside. No scratches. Just silence. That day I called in sick. I needed answers. I dug through forums, Reddit threads, even subreddits about schizophrenia, trying to convince myself this was all in my head. But then I found it. A post on a locked horror forum, buried into threads about lucid dreams and voice entities. The title chilled me. If you hear the voice, don't listen. It was written by someone called No One Left. The post described everything I'd been going through. The voice, the warnings, the strange sense that someone, or something, was always watching from just out of sight. And it ended with this line: "The voice is not your guardian. It's your handler." My stomach dropped. Handler? Then came a new message. Not from the voice, but on my phone. A text. Unknown number. You shouldn't have read that. The message disappeared before I could screenshot it. I dropped my phone. It buzzed once more. The voice returned, louder than ever. "You belong to us now." After that message, things unraveled fast. For 2 days, I stayed indoors. I taped black trash bags over the windows, unplugged everything, covered mirrors. I even threw my phone in the microwave. Didn't turn it on, just needed it caged. The voice stayed quiet. I thought maybe it was over. Maybe ignoring it was the key. But on the 3rd night, just after 2:45 a.m., my bedroom lights flickered. Not just once, but in a rhythm. 3 short blinks. 2 long. 1 short. Like Morse code. Then the voice returned, cold, composed, closer than ever before. "We gave you warnings. Now you listen." The lights shut off completely. I heard footsteps in the hallway. Not Josh's. Heavy. Wet. Unnatural. I grabbed my notebook and backed into the corner. Hard in my throat. I tried to whisper to myself. Tried to block it out. But the voice wasn't inside my head anymore. It was outside the door. "Open it." I shook my head violently. No, I won't. But the knob began to turn. Something scratched at the other side, like fingernails or claws dragging across the wood. Then I did the one thing I'd promised never to do. I spoke back. "What do you want from me?" Silence. Then a whisper, deep and low, from the floorboards beneath my feet. "You were born for this." Suddenly, I remembered something. A conversation I had as a kid that I'd buried deep. I was 9, playing in the basement at my aunt's old farmhouse. I'd asked her what the strange hatch in the ground was for. She stared at me like I'd grown a second head. "You weren't supposed to see that." Then she smiled, the wrong kind of smile, and said, "Don't worry, sweetheart. When it's time, you'll remember." The voice spoke again. "Go to the basement." I don't remember walking. I don't remember opening the hatch. But I remember what I saw. A chair. Leather straps. Photographs on the wall. Black and white photos of me. As a child. As a teen. One from last week. And behind the chair a mirror, covered in red handprints from the inside. I turned to run, but standing in front of the exit was me. Same face, same hoodie, same notebook in hand, except his eyes were pure black, like ink floating in water. He smiled. The voice came once more. You are not the original. The last thing I remember is him lunging. And then, underscore, 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 underscore. I woke up in my bed. It was daylight. Everything looked normal. Josh knocked on my door. Hey man, you okay? You were screaming in your sleep. I stared at him, unsure if it was real. He looked normal. Too normal. I played along. Yeah, bad dream, I guess. But when I went into the kitchen, I saw the notebook on the counter. Only it wasn't mine. It was identical. But the entries inside were all written in a language I didn't understand. Jagged symbols, repeated numbers, and at the very end, in perfect English, one line burned into the paper. He's watching you from behind your eyes. I dropped the notebook, and that's when I heard the voice again, but this time it laughed.